Mr. Labrie.
No.
Oh. We were interviewing Mr. Labrie for the Bronx World Tour. So you are about to head on your world tour again. What are you most excited for?
Well, obviously this is the 10th year we've been doing the Bronx World Tour, so I'm always excited for the research part of it that we're doing for all of our soldiers on our cenotaph. But I always get excited about individual students who have never had the opportunity to travel. I know this year, for example, I have a couple of students who've never even flown on an airplane before, so that excitement for me makes a big difference. And it's a little thing because I have a lot of experience on an airplane. However, for them, it's their first time, so I always get excited about seeing their emotions and how they react to those kind of experiences.
What do students enjoy the most?
I think it depends on who the student is. I know that they really get caught up in the research they're doing, and then when they have to do their presentation at Gravesite, they often get very, very emotional. So I think they are very nervous about those experiences, but at the same time, after they're done, they feel very like they have a very close connection to remembrance, and they're very glad that they were able to do this. And of course, you know, going to things like the Eiffel Tower and seeing the actual Eiffel Tower, going to the top of the Eiffel Tower and looking down is always a big deal. Trying the different foods, experiencing the different cultures. We visit, for example, the Louvre, and you get to see the Mona Lisa and some of the things that you might see in a textbook, and now you get to see them in real life. And of course, you know, free time is always a cool experience, and they have a little bit of free time, and so, you know, that independence and shopping and buying souvenirs and things that they would never find back in Canada are always a really cool experience for them.
Is it worth it to go on the trip?
Well, obviously I'm going to have a bias because I think it is, but I know that it's not cheap. I mean, it's thousands of dollars to go, and we often plan almost a year in advance. So we start planning about 10 months rather before we go, and the reason we do that is so that students can spread out the costs, so they can pay month by month, and that really helps the total price. But I do know that if you did this on your own, it would be much more expensive. So the value of going with a group, it cuts down on the cost for meals and flights and hotels and things like that. So that's a big deal. To see the same things that we will experience on your own would be significantly higher. So from that standpoint, it's worth it. And of course, I think the students also appreciate the fact that their mom and dad aren't there, so they like that little bit of independence. So all those things make it well worth the tour, I think. Yeah?
Could we have all junior high reach students to meet in Mrs. Mercer's room right away, please? That's all junior high reach students to meet in Mrs. Mercer's room.
Junior high reach.
What have you learned the most from the trip that you have gone on?
Well, every year we learn about the stories of Ponoka guys. You know, young men who went to fight in war and never came home, because all of them are buried over there, so they never were able to come back. And the fact that students from our school get to understand about the guys that walk the same streets as we do, and hearing kind of what their interests were and what their hobbies were and where they worked and where they lived, and making those connections to present day, I think means a lot. And it also helps keep the remembrance aspect alive, like the fact that even though it's 100 years ago for the World War I guys, I mean, there's still an element of respect for the sacrifice that they had, I think is important.
That's all the questions that we have. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for your interest. I
answering
hope the answers are good enough for you. Yeah, I thank you for your interest. Cool.